Check. Check 1. Check 2. This is it. Welcome to the Cannabis Coffee Hour with your host, me, Rob Cantrell, coming to you live and direct through the internet files of podcasts around the world. We are here. I have a nice, I don't have coffee today, I have green tea. Changing it up. You gotta go left when they go right. And this is what I got, everybody. I got a nice cup of green tea. I already kind of powered through my French press, but I saved 1 cup of coffee for the afternoon. But now I'm switching over to green tea with a slice of lemon. I picked up a lemon at the grocery store. I always like to pick up a lime and a lemon. I put them in my drinks. They go good with fish. You squeeze, if you're cooking fish and you got a fresh lime, you squeeze one of those bad boys over it. Good. So I got a nice glass of green tea. I do have some cannabis. I just finished smoking a half a J, so I got one hitter today. And the herb I got some great sour diesel, but it's super. I mean, the herb that they're making these days is 20% THC. It's a little. But shout out. Yeah, I got a little bit of good herb, but it's very strong. So I mixed it with the CBD. I went out and actually got some CBD. The thing about sour diesel is it can make your heart kind of race. It gives you like a punch like coffee. So what I figured is, the THC level is just like 20%. It's like crazy. So anytime I smoke it, I have to smoke just the tiniest amount. You really got to get scientific with your herb, and it has to, and everybody's individual, everybody's different snowflake, everybody's an individual. And the older I get and the more that we dance into the future, the more we understand that that everybody's different with health, with mind, with body. Me, myself, it is one of the things that I enjoy still is cannabis and coffee. But I also like me some green tea. I like chai tea. I like espressos. Ooh, this is hot. It's hot out. There's a lot of funk out there. I'm feeling good. I just got tested last night. I've been tested twice this week. Sorry for without having no podcast last week. This is the end of the year. We'll do kind of an end of the year review. Apologies for, the consistency of the podcast. It's been great. I just missed last week, and that really bummed me out. It's like, and I didn't do meditation. It's like anything that you're disciplined. Once you break the cycle, it's hard to get cycled back up. I was watching something about the design of the mind and how we're all looking for patterns. And that's what a podcast is a pattern. It's a consistent pattern. And especially this podcast. It's a podcast about cannabis and coffee and all things cannabis and coffee in my world, which means comedy, music, health, professional, making money, and meditation, keeping mind right, the whole thing. And this podcast is growing, and we're getting sponsors on board. Most of them have been through my host Podbean, so I haven't gotten a direct sponsor, but I haven't even chased it yet. So, as we organize and grow, thank you for liking and subscribing to this podcast. Thanks for listening. This is for you. I have a nice glass one hitter from Marley One Hitters. No. Marley Naturals is the place this piece is from. Yeah. But this is just a little CBD and sour diesel. I picked up the CBD at this yoga shop. that they were selling loose joints. Like, I didn't go to like the bodega or the sketchy drugstore, because who knows what they got. But these yoga people, they probably got some good CBD. And the herb I got is just too good. That's the problem. It's super strong. I hope my voice levels are all right. This is going to be just an audio one. We do have a Patreon. Thank you for liking it and subscribing to the Patreon. If you want to see the videos of we've had a great year, you know. I had Joe Pera on the podcast. Video one. That one was from Dunkin' Donuts. That one was special. That was great. I think Bill Burr was this year. We've had so many great guests this year. Let me just bring it up and take a look at it, brah. But I also wanted to talk about what popped up here is my new album. That was the first thing. I just did a whole live IG, which I've never done before. But it's all about, I have my new album out that you can stream on iTunes, and it's called Caffeinated Dope Rhymes. And it's 7 tracks, and I put a lot of love in it. It's some old, it's some new, it's some demos. Give it a spin. The first track, Give Peace a Dance. Second track is What I Got, Dub Rock. Third track is Coffee and Weed. Fourth track is Married and Shit. Fifth track is S'more Sunset Campfire Demo. And sixth track is Rub My Feet. Seventh track is Coffee and Weed DC Go-Go Jam. So yeah, I put out this music album. And that's kind of what I was doing during the pandemic, is doing this podcast. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Thank you for tuning in and not tuning out. What have I been listening to? A lot. A ton. The only thing is that I'm all about Spotify, but they actually took my comedy album off of Spotify because the label that I was signed to got in a big heave-ho with them because they weren't paying the proper rights to the album. So now, it's a little tricky. But I do still like it. I still listen to the tunes. How did I end up in this conversation? I just wanted to go to my mix, my ongoing mix, just to see exactly what I have been listening to. Or let's see what the last ones I put on. Oh, I put on some Free. The band Free. They do that song, All Right Now. Everybody, all right. Like every bar band in the 70s covered Free. And they were on every compilation of Freedom Rock. I'm a Mover. It's like a B cut. I guess this album, I was listening to this one dude that you could tell he was a super musician, audio studio cat. I forget. It was like one of those amoeba, what's in your bag. And he pulled out this album by Free. And I always it's just called Free. And I always thought that was the most badass name. And they were just like an American rock band. And they played that song. I said, hey, what is this? It's slow. Don't move so fast. And then I got a song called Fire and Water and a Mover. These are 2 B cuts. I don't know. I didn't even get All Right Now. I'll put All Right Now on there soon. And then I got this dude Donovan, and it's called Ricky Tiki Tavi. But it's like an acoustic joint, and he's interesting, and I think it's from the 60s. And then I got Tenderness by Parquet Courts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, Tenderness by Parquet Courts. And then I got Seven Bridge Road by the Eagles. For a runner-up, that's The Joint, the Funky 4+1. They're really good. So that's what I've been listening to. That's at the end of my spot. All the tunes on your like main Spotify playlist. The last joints are the joints you haven't played completely out. So those are the ones that you're currently. Or you put them on last. But the weird thing is, yeah, they took my comedy album out, but my new album, Caffeinated Dope Rhymes, is actually on there right now, but there's some weird, I don't know. Go to my iTunes, man. I'm kind of feeling iTunes these days. iTunes podcast. My podcast is really set up really good on there, and Spotify is messing with me a little bit here, and I think I've been smoking this CBD and herb out. I'm kind of getting a little aggro. It is a sativa, so watch out, kids. I am talking a mile a minute. Seems like I just did 5 podcasts. Ooh, yeah. Because I got the window cracked, so it's a little chilly. But then I got this green tea with lemon. Like, green tea is an antioxidant. I usually drink it when I'm like sick because I'm always powering through coffee. But what happened was I powered through coffee, and then I hit too much of this like super herb that I had, and it made me like, oh. That's why I had to like bring it down with a little CBD, and then like if I'm hitting this herb, this like 20% THC herb, I gotta watch it. But really, I was, running on fumes. Like, it just, real life has been catching up, and I've had to do a lot. It just nonstop. But I wanted to knock out this podcast because this will be the last podcast of 2021. And then we're all gonna hide out for a while and dodge Omicron, and I'll see you in the new year. I'll pop up in January, and first week, second week, third week, see how it all plays out, and we'll start all over again. We'll drink more coffee, smoke more herb. I learned from every mistake on this podcast. Like that burp I just did. I learned from all of them. And interviewing, I love the interview. Dima Hesham, she was awesome. And there's just been a lot of great guests. And my man Dima, there's Dina, and then there's Dima. Dina Hesham. She was awesome. But I didn't interview, like I listened to the interview and I talk over, and I'm going to try to, that's going to be my new, not resolution. I never did resolutions, just personal evolvement in self. Well, even before I don't even take New Year's New Year's is just time, The minute you're on this planet, it's New Year's. Every second is a new year. So counting down is just like this thing, but is it really? What is it? We can count down right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. I watched the Burton documentary. That's really good. I fell asleep a couple times. But man, I think it's on HBO Go. It's on HBO or Netflix. You could check out my album, Caffeinated Dope Rhymes, streaming on iTunes, the $3 trillion Apple Corporation. You could check out my song, Coffee and Weed. You could check out the DC Go-Go remix, too. But I was checking out the documentary of, speaking of streaming, I was checking out the documentary, the Burton Snowboard documentary on HBO, and it's amazing. The guy that founded that, he's pretty much like a New York cat, a city dude that knew about this like surf riding, like uniboard. He was just really into it. And then he just made his own uniboard and then he kind of built on it. But he kind of pushed the whole thing forward, man. And I have to say, snowboarding is one of the coolest, things ever. I haven't done enough of it. I've done some. Well, I have. I mean, I've done some really good snowboarding. But I just remember those moments. Like, that's the type of things I want to grab in 2022. Snowboarding, surfing. Well, I don't know about surfing these days. I haven't been in practice. And it is a, all encompassing, big dude sport. It's just very physical if you're not ready for it. It can fuck you up, man. You can mess, you're out there in the elements and you got this heavy board and flies everywhere. And on a heavy day, those things are like, people die. There's some risk involved. Oh, man, this is some good green tea. But I think that's a good risk for surfing. Like if you had to do it, like if you did it every day. With those type of things, like the more you do it, the more safer it is almost. Like playing football or, anything extreme where, something could happen and there's definitely a risk involved. Then, the more you do it, the better, the safer you can be, I guess, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I just did the live IG and I don't do many of those. So I'm just getting my mind around that concept and I'm just psyched about putting this project out and just putting it out there and then putting this podcast out there. And then I'm just closing up shop. I got a show February 20th. I got a show January 6th. Yeah, I'm going to keep auditioning and writing some projects. I'll get the podcast up and running in the new year, but then I'm going to lay low. I need to sleep more. I need to eat better. I need to go for a little bit of walks. Well, I say eat better. I eat good, but I just know the candies and cakes and cookies are going to come on. And I always love candies, cakes, and cookies, but they come on triple load around, Christmas time. I like Christmas time. I like eggnog. I like the concept, peace on earth. But the ceremony, like we've gotten away from it all. But I'm trying to be more better and positive to people and not think of myself. That's what and it's hard because I do a podcast and I do hip hop album. I do, I rap and I do a lot of stand up. But in the day-to-day thing, I try to be more and more connected when I meet people or, and I'm still short. Sometimes I'm grumpy. I get grumpy. I've been grumpy. It gets cold. You get grumpy. But I've caught myself a few times, but I also been grump, but not really grump. I don't get grump. I just get short, but I'm always short because I just don't want to waste anybody's time. But I try to be positive when I meet people around the holidays because everybody's kind of struggling. Everybody's traveling, or trying not to travel because of Omicron. I think my goal is just to be extra kind and extra nice, but talk is cheap. But I just want to say thank you for listening to the Cannabis Coffee Hour. I mean, we're going on the third year, and cannabis is getting more and more legal. Like it's getting so legal, but there's so much more to figure out because it's getting so strong. And some states are legal, some aren't. It's just going to be a matter of time when the federal government comes along and, makes it legal. And that's where, we're going to be introduced to a new plant, a new element, which has deep history that we don't know much about. And lots of medical and it's actually fun for me. That's what I think life is about, is to have fun. I mean, everybody says that, but it's the pursuit of happiness, which is this, and herb makes me happy, and herb is fun, and it kind of goes along with my vibe. I use it to dodge alcohol, really. Because I like the concept of drinking and socializing, kicking it. But yeah, I think life at this point is supposed to have fun. Like, the more fun you have, the more life it gives you. I don't know. You ever notice, like, yeah, like things will open up and it's like, yo, time to have fun. And I'm ready for some fun after this I don't know. I'm not going to say it's lockdown. I think everybody's just figuring out this new thing, and we're all figuring it out together. And it's a trippy thing. But I try not to get too crazed by the chaos, because the chaos has always been going on. I know it's a little extra with the pandemic, but it's always been going on. The chaos, and good things come out of the chaos, I think. Bad things. Yep. But also, I don't know, with the technology, there's something with the technology and the independence and the looking inward we keep on falling into a little bit. Now it's just like lemon and hot water, which is good because I'm smoking a little bit, and it's cold, and everybody's dodging Omicron, and I got the window cracked. So it's kind of like a perfect setup. It's like a little bit of CBD with a little bit of really good, like sour diesel. Like, literally people would be like, oh my God, that's the best weed I've ever had. Just the taste wise. And then the THC is so strong, but it's like the taste is what I like. But it's and then I got the green tea for the antioxidants, and it's hot, but not too hot. It's not scalding. It's just warm. I like warm. I like round. Yeah, the cup is round. It's warm. There's plenty of herb. The sun is out. It's cold. I got a candle. I got an apple cinnamon candle. It's smelling crazy Christmas. Cinnamon and Christmas. Cinnamon is but I've been doing a lot of turmeric, but nothing beats cinnamon for me. Maybe cocoa powder. But cinnamon kind of is the overall thing. Cocoa powder just to make them. I like chocolate. And I like coffee. I think that's why I like coffee so much. I am looking forward to. I may need that coffee after this podcast. I'm going to take a nice hot shower. I'm going to clean up. How good is making your bed? That's one of the pleasures. I don't know when it turned that way, but one of my great pleasures in life is making my bed, because I know the chaos is ever swelling. It's always out there, but you can make your bed. You can control that. You can control what you can control and then give up on the rest. This is great green tea. I haven't had green tea in a while. And I was going to put some honey in it, but I didn't put any honey in it. So it's a little, I do like honey, especially around this time. Big fan of good honey. What have I been, just mostly in my smoothies, I've been putting honey. And then, I ate some raw honey, and that was good too. I was like, because there's so much Omicron, there's so much talks, and I'm trying to be super careful. I'm taking all my vitamins. I stopped meditating and stretching, and I stopped the podcast. Like I said, my pattern was off. I just got busy with super life, and my pattern was off. But I did everything back on pattern today. But man, I have to say, meditating for 20 minutes, that was really hard. Like, I've really gotten it, I think with the hustle and bustle, you really can get into your ego, and especially in New York and moving at a really hectic clip. And then you throw the holidays on there, and then Omicron. It's like, whoa. But I did my meditation today. I did 20 minutes. I made it. But it was hard because I wasn't in practice. I got a tape from my show that I did on the road when I headlined. So I've been going to study that. But I've been making all of my promos. I just put up on my Twitter at Rob Cantrell, Caffeinated Dope Rhymes. You could see I did all the graphics, all the kind of simple promo. And I did a great video for the new cut of what I got, the Sublime cover that I did. I remastered it, and it sounds 100 billion times better. And then I redid the video. I chopped it up. And I did some really trippy stuff with the old video. And I put that up. But then I put the old track on it. And then I tweeted it out. I had to revamp everything. I've been it's been a lot of like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back for me lately. But this is 1 day forward, and it's 1 day at a time. Because the more you go like 1 day at a time, I have to concentrate on today, and I have to concentrate on this album. I mean, and I end this podcast. This podcast is linked with this album. I mean, you guys heard me working through it. So this is finally, I got it out there. Now it's streamtastic. When it streams, it streams. It's out there in the stream. Because that's the gig right now. Just people want to tap into a little entertainment here and there whenever they have the time. Because the hustle and bustle. But people are finding out how to slow down. Me, I like to go to the park. Smoking herb, walking, go to the park, naps. I gotta not feel guilty about naps. Naps, it's a bummer that people think naps are like, oh, you stoner, you just taking a stoner nap. Yeah. During the day, I think it's good to fucking take a nap. It recharges your battery. But everything's set up, from the very beginning. So it's, but now I think we're just kind of rewiring the way we look at everything, which is exciting. The way people see movies, Should I see this new Matrix? I saw it on Netflix last night, but I was like, I don't know. It looked way too confusing for the mood I'm in. Sometimes when I watch a movie when I'm high, I'm like, man, I just want to chill out. Like, simple ideas. Or you just want entertaining. And it's different times for different times. Or different vibes for different times. Talking about movies, entertainment. Whether it be music, whether it be movies. I do want to, not to take I keep on saying, but it is a good time to reflect. I mean, I do want to play more guitar in 2022. That's what I want to work on. You can hear my guitar work on the new demo. It's not new. This is the old, but on S'mores Sunset. It's a song all about s'mores. It's track number 6 on iTunes. Caffeinated Dope Rhymes, which is the new album I'm promoting and getting out there before 2022 comes. So go check it out, stream it, buy it, call your cousin, tell them. But I don't want to be super promo machine. But it is what I'm doing, so it's like, so part of me likes to be punk rock, like don't tell anybody shit, and stay humble, Buddha, Zen Master Fresh. And then other times I'm just like, man, this is what I'm doing. And and then you get into your ego, like, I'm pretty good at it. Well, yeah, you got to believe in yourself. That's the number one thing. It's just promoting it. And if you really believe in yourself, you don't have to promote it as much. And I love this album, and who knows? I just wanted to put it out there. I'm not going to do super promo for it. I'm talking about it on my podcast. I tweeted it. I put it on my Instagram. What else are you going to do? That's the world that's in, man. That's flip and dip. That's every day, all day. And let's just see how it plays out. That's kind of the gig, what I'm all about. Did I just rhyme? There's some caffeinated dope rhymes all the time. Dancing around to Sublime. Are you kind? Do you mind? Taking a time out. Stop screaming and shouting. A lot of the screaming and shouting is on Twitter. And then the Instagram is just like flexing or trying to, or I don't know. Instagram is a lot of different shit, but it bums me out that it's Facebook. Because I was driving and man, there's just so many Walmart and Amazon trucks out there, dude. Oh my God. So all these super corporations, I think it's going to splinter up and people are going to see through some of these companies. But some of them are good, but there's just too much of it sometimes. And too much of a thing kind of makes it bunk. There is something about growing too big. There's blind spots. Whereas being a small company and you're kind of content, that's kind of the gig, is like being content and then shit will vibrate to you. And I'm very contented doing this podcast. Like, thank you for listening. Thank you for being a friend. Golden Girls, Betty White. Love to do it another 50 years. Because this is a fun little break for me. And it's also a test. It's I had some guests lined up, but then I shied away. And because of the times, and I don't know about getting on camera and talking to somebody right this moment. Not that it's a big deal, but it just me running and gunning where, I definitely was not in my zero. I wasn't working from zero, as they say, like from square one for the last 3 days. I was just running. I wasn't getting the right sleep. I wasn't eating the right foods. I wasn't meditating. I wasn't doing my stretches. I was off. But I was off doing shit. And sometimes you got to do some shit. I was trying to grab this water here in my headphones. Whoa, brah. But let's see. But yeah, I'm going to lay low and watch some like Grateful Dead movies or Grateful Dead concerts on YouTube and smoke some herb and drink some green tea and maybe text some people. I do want to shoot some stuff. I may be shooting some films with Mookie Thompson for my PMA short film series. Because we went and looked at it. We did a really good job. It's just like a short film. The budget was nothing, so the amount of time we put into it. So that's kind of the next thing that's on my horizon. That's what I'm trying to work out. Doing a little bit more acting, trying to book more and more auditions, and then also put out a comedy special. And that's my big goal. And I'm good at looking at my stand-up now. It's really hard to look at yourself and listen to yourself. And I was never good at it. I'll definitely blow it off if I can. But it is my job, and people are getting specials. I need to put one out there. I never put a full video special, 45 minutes. And I've been doing this 20 years. I've done plenty of audio albums. And I think I had the video from the last audio album. I could have used that, but that's not a proper, I think as a special, as a comedy special, it has to be in a theater. It has to be 45 minutes. The material has to be up to date. It has to have a beginning, middle, and end. Or it doesn't. It can just have jokes. It has to be funny. That's the number one rule, especially with comedy specials. It has to be funny. And I think I could put that all together this year. Try to, right now with the way I always messed up that word, distribution. how that's set up online these days is just so much easier and so much simpler. And it's almost like, why aren't you doing more of that? And what I got here is some good water, but it has a little extra residue from emergency, a old emergency. It's a water bottle that I put some emergency, but then it has some vitamin C in there. I'm all about water, hydration, vitamins, whenever I can. Green tea. Yeah, my vice is coffee and good herb. Those are my two vices, but as vices go, they're not the worst. They're actually pretty good. But who knows? Everybody has their own vibe. Some people live to 100 smoking cigarettes. You just got to do what works for you, bruh. And what works for me is a little bit of coffee and cannabis, a little bit of green tea. I got a coffee a little bit in the afternoon. I'll even have coffee ice cream. Not all the time. My new thing with ice cream is just vanilla, like good vanilla, and then Hershey's chocolate syrup. And that's it. That's it. That's it. Don't give me no crunchy crunch. Don't give me no cookie dough ice cream donut fudge hole. Don't give me any of that. I just want some vanilla ice cream and chocolate sauce. It is really good when it melts together, and you can monitor it. And it's simple, and it's delicious, and it makes sense. I went through a weird teeth thing. I had to go to the dentist and everything. So, but I'm all straight. I'm all back to square one. So that was one thing that held up the podcast. But cannabis does help with that, especially the CBD and this really good cannabis. And it definitely helps instead of taking like mad amounts of it. Like they say, Advil's not great for you. And I remember I used to take a lot of Advil, like it was that you remember that? That was in the medicine cabinet all through college, just like pounding Advil because you're so hungover. I never do that now that I smoke cannabis strictly, But this isn't a podcast. I mean, I guess people that listen to this podcast like cannabis. Some people like it for the comedy. Some people like it for the music. Yeah, those last few tunes I gave out, like, dude, that band Free, they're pretty rad. Check them out. And I want to learn that song on the guitar. All right now, baby. And that's like the easiest. What the hell? My phone did something crazy. But that's like the easiest chord progression. And I could do that. The thing about it is I just got to work on tuning my guitar and playing with it. I just got so busy making beats and doing this podcast and doing stand-up that, it's been hard. It's not that hard. I'm trying not to complain. I've been watching this like samurai sayings. And one samurai saying was like, the most noble man or something like, you're supposed to walk with your head high all the time, even in like one of the more noble things in life is to walk with your head high, even the most dire situations or the dire of times. So that's what I've been kind of, we got to hold our head up. Yeah, it's funky, but guess what? So are we. It's funky times. It's time to break out the herb and the coffee and the tea and the podcast. Let's check out Banned in DC by Bad Brains, Minor Threat, Schism by Tool, Slither, Velvet Underground. I just gave you 5 ones like that just popped out, but that's all of those sound. And the next one is I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor by the Arctic Monkeys. Like all those are really like mainstream, Like not even 90s hits, like almost underground hits. Like I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor is like 2000 aughts, but it was sounded like a 90s hit, and it was just catchy as hell. It was just super catchy. It was like Smells Like Teen Spirit in the sense that it was just super catchy in 90s, but they weren't from the 90s. Now Sliver by Velvet Revolver. Now they are the lead singer of the Stone Temple Pilots and then the dudes from Guns N' Roses. And they were a good band. They were kind of like one of those super groups where they're another 2000 aught band that broke up, and then homeboy died, rest in peace, from the lead singer of Stone Temple Pilots. But they have a couple good tunes. Check out Slither. But that too was like, you would listen to that on like a top 40 radio station or almost. Schism by Tool. Now I didn't listen to Tool until I got to the West Coast. Like it was on the radio on the West Coast. That's what was so trippy. Or maybe it was just on my radio, but I remember that was the first Tool song. Schism, SCHISM, was the first song that kind of put its hooks in me. Minor Threat by Minor Threat. It's just so good, man. It's from DC, so I'm a little biased in that sense. But I'm trying to let go of my ego. But I am proud that band is from the town I am from. Because Minor Threat and Fugazi like went against everything in terms of major labels, and they were still cooler and sounded better than most of the shit that ever came out. Band in DC, Bad Brains, the same thing. Like that band is like so further away ahead of its time that it's like even you put them out on a lineup today and they're still blowing minds, you know. Shout out to my man Dan Curry. He sent me like 5 really obscure, crazy tunes that were audibly really smart and cool and out there. And one of them, this Japanese Hiromi Hosono. And then it's all Japanese later. But that dude is heavy if you want to look him up. Yeah, just more tunes, more coffee, more tea, more cannabis. Check out my album, The Caffeinated Dope Rhymes, on iTunes. Try to steer away from Spotify. They're being weird to me. They took my comedy album off. I told you. They weren't paying the rights to 800 Pound Gorilla, which was the label I'm signed to for stand-up for that project. For my new one, we'll see. Hopefully we'll dodge the Omicron and get the heck out of Dodge and start doing more live shows and coming together. And I want to take this podcast on the road. I want to have musical guests. I want to do it live in coffee shops. I want to do live streams. Check out the Patreon, Rob Cantrell Coffee. Support, like, subscribe any way you can. And peace and love. And I'll catch you I'll catch you in 2022. I love you.
dig, 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 dig.